Simple mycology.
Welcome, students of mycology, and this is your professor speaking. Today's lesson is grain spawn. Okay, you see that line right there? You're gonna want to line that up. Yep, so grab a bucket, grab whole oats. Now you can use other things like wheat berries or brown rice, corn, wild bird seeds, rye berries, but we're using whole oats, so watch the video. Alright, so boom, you filled it up right above the line. Now what you're gonna do is grab the biggest pot you have in your house, and you're filling her up with water, and you wait until it gets to 150 degrees or around 160 degrees. And then what you're gonna wanna do is take that pot and carefully pour it into your bucket and fill it up. Yep, just like that. Come on, don't be afraid. Just put the water in. There you go, buddy. There you go. All right, now, this is where things are gonna get a little freaky. Now, I learned this from mushroom farmers like Mosey Creek mushrooms, but you're gonna wanna give it a hawk too. You're gonna wanna spit in that bucket at least one good time, just like that. Yep, yeah, you have to treat it like a little... Oh, excuse my language. I mean All right, so you see how I'm running this water? You're gonna wanna go to a sink, take the bucket out, inspect the oats, smell the oats, make sure they're good, not too soaked. And you're gonna wanna put it into the sink. Now, usually people lay this on a net, but you, I don't have a net. So I grabbed a sink, and I'm letting it do what it does. Now, sometimes more water can mean bad things, but when you're cooking it for 3 hours and a half, most of the time it doesn't fucking matter. So let them dry, don't let them dry. As long as they're soaked for about 24 hours or 48 hours, don't go past 2 days. 2 days is pretty much the max. I wouldn't go past 2 days. Just let the top layer dry out. Some people put boiling water in it, let the vapors dry it out. That shit works. But I'm fucking lazy, so I don't do it all the time. Clear out the other side of the sink, wipe it down, make sure it's completely dry. Don't be a fucking asshole. Then grab any one of these types of bags from Amazon. Very strong. You want extra strong. You don't want them to bust. All right, and then you grab your handy dandy cup, whatever you're gonna use. It's easy to be consistent. I would find the same cup every time, so you can count how many scoops. This one does 3, so I'm gonna do about 3 scoops into every bag, and that's pretty much how it works for me. Find your rhythm, just relax, and just fill up your bags. This does about 8 bags when you fill it up to that line. 8 3.5 pound bags. Yeah, you just want to fill it up, take that air out, and then you're all done. All right, so when it comes to pressure cooker machines, there's all shapes and sizes. Here's like a small beginner one. It fits about 1 bag. This one's really for mason jars. If you got mason jars, this one works way better. You just want to line it up. Every machine has an indicator. And then boom. You want to put that top on there. You'll hear it make a noise when it's at 15 psi, and it'll be rotating. So you'll hear it, you'll see it, and it'll be a consistent hissing noise. And that's when you'll know it's at 15 psi. All right, so this is a bigger pressure cooker. This is the one people normally get. I think it's around $100. This is a Presto, and it's pretty fucking good. It works pretty damn good. It's got 3 lines indicating the last line at the bottom is where you put the water at. You fill it up to that line. Then you cut it on. Then you close up the top. And it's got that plate at the bottom to protect from direct heat. You're going to want that plate down there. This fills about 4 bags. You don't want to stuff it too much. You don't want anything to bust because they will bust. And then you just want to line the lid back up and put it right back on top, just like that. If it's not going on, it's not lining up. Don't force anything. And if it gets too old, you can rub some oil around the lid, and that makes it work pretty well. All right, same thing for the other machine. This thing will give a hiss when it's reached 15 psi, and it's got a meter on it so you can read it. All right, so this right here is the ultimate badass. This is a goddamn all-American. This is the pressure cooker of pressure cookers. Now, this is around about $1,600, so it is fucking expensive as shit. But goddamn, this fucker works every time. I mean, this has the best results I've ever seen so far, hands down. It does take about 5.5 hours total cook time, but it does a perfect job, let me fucking tell you. Okay, so now you're gonna wanna line it up. You see that thing? There's a coil from the lid that's gotta go down that metal tube. So you just wanna make sure it's to an angle like that, because you wanna line up the machine to the lid. You're gonna wanna make sure that's at a perfect angle. Now wipe it down, make sure it's dry. Then you wanna gonna load it up 2 by 2, 2 on each side. And you're gonna wanna make sure that the bags are tucked in a certain way. You see how I took out all the air and I got it really flat, and I'm putting them in micron filter down. You really want to put it in just like that, just so the air can hit it all evenly. Now, some people cook this for about 1.5 hours, but that's just too quick. It's not the best cook. Some people do 2.5 hours, but I really took advice from Mosey Creek. That's the only person I've seen say 3.5 hours, but 3 hours and 30 minutes is the best time, in my opinion. So, do 3.5 hours. Don't be fucking lazy shit. Listen to me when I'm telling you. This is great advice. And you just want to make sure the lid's on there evenly. If it's not going on there, please, for the love of God, do not use a tool to tighten these knobs. I've already used a tool and I've chipped some of these knobs, as you can see. Or maybe you can't fucking tell, but one of my knobs are broken, so please just use your hand. Stop being an asshole. And just make sure the lid is even, and it should all work out. And just take your time. If you see any air seeping out of the sides, it's okay. Just tighten it more in the area and you'll see it stop. It's no big deal. You'll just have a longer cook time. It does have a pressure release valve. If anything happens in the wrong way, you leave it on for too long, you forget a timer, it will release a loud, obnoxious noise that sounds like it's gonna explode, but it's giving you time so it doesn't explode. So if you hear a loud noise, check the machine. Please don't walk away from the machine if you haven't mastered this. You're gonna wanna sit by it, just monitor it, make sure it's all good, make sure everything is safe. It's a big, strong, powerful machine. Don't treat it like a toy. Once you've mastered it, you can set a timer, sometimes walk away, sometimes come back, but you just want to make sure you can always hear it. After all the knobs are checked, you set an hour timer. Hour timer goes off, boom. As you can see, you come back to the machine after an hour. Then you want to set a 5-minute timer. You switch the button up. You bleed it out for 5 minutes, letting all that empty air pockets out. making sure everything's gonna be set for even cook. You're gonna wanna set a timer for about 30 minutes. The PSI will go all the way to about 17 PSI. It'll be in the green area. Unlike the other machines, this is at 17 instead of 15. You set it at 17, and then after this 30-minute timer, I set it for 32 because I didn't want to wait extra minutes. So you can set it from 32 to 30 minutes, give or take, but 30 minutes is the safest option. You come back, you sit there for another about 2 to 5 minutes, and then when the timer goes off and it's at 17 PSI, that's when you take the knob. It should be all the way on 10, and you take it down to about 3 or 2. You'll see the light turn off, and that's how you know it's maintaining at 17 PSI. And it'll cut periodically on and off for the next 3 hours and 30 minutes. You'll see the red light on. That means it's on. It's heated up. Heat up to 17 PSI, then turn off. And then that's pretty much how this fucking machine works. That's when you set your last timer for 3 hours and 30 minutes. And then that's when you can kind of relax, maybe do something in the area. Or this is pretty much the safest time where you can walk away and maybe check in about 45 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour. You can kind of relax at this point. If the water is at the water line on the machine, you should be just fine. You'll have plenty of water to do this for 3 hours and 30 minutes. So at this point, you're pretty much done. You just gotta wait, and then make sure you turn the machine off just at 3 hours and 30 minutes. You don't really want to go past that. This is already pretty much a long time. So you don't want to stress the machine out. All right, so boom, your timer went off, and now it's been 3 hours and 30 minutes. Congratulations, you're done. Now you're a goddamn mycologist. You should be fucking proud, buddy. And the next day, you waited 24 hours for the machine to cool down, and you check your bags, and it came out goddamn perfect because you took my advice. And nothing smushed too crazy, and nothing popped. Wow. Perfect. So that's how you do it. Good, clean grain spawn. Every time. Easy and nice. If you're doing this on a stovetop, 3.5 hours is also just enough time. If you fill up that water to the water line, you'll be just fine. And you will have the best grain spawn ever. Thanks. Thanks, everybody. This is your professor. This is Simple Mycology, and this is Simple Mycology. Love all you crazy psychos. Thank you for your time, and much love.